Hello and welcome to the program. Now, the insecurity in southern Kaduna, that's in northwestern Nigeria, I should say, has defied all possible solutions thrown at it in the last 4 to 5 years. Most recently, there's been a cycle of attacks on different communities by unknown gunmen now, which resulted in scores of deaths. Many villagers were also displaced in the attacks which took place despite a curfew imposed by the Kaduna state government. Now, in Borno state, that state is also still reeling under the pressure from Boko Haram. Hours after State Governor Babagana Zulum's convoy was attacked, multiple explosions rocked various parts of the state capital, Maiduguri. Of course, we cannot say security operatives are not doing their best, but something just seems to be amiss. And there are areas, of course, we need to begin to look into. So everyone is worried. What exactly is going on? Joining me now to discuss all of this is Patrick Agbambu, who is the president and CEO of Security Watch Africa Initiatives. He's also a security consultant. Patrick, thank you very much for joining us on the program. Let's start with the last one, the incident that happened just recently when the convoy of the Borno State Governor came under attack. He was heading to Baga and his convoy came under attack. We've seen that dramatic video, but then the governor coming out to say, look, that attack was not carried out by Boko Haram, that it was carried out by the military, that the military was engaging the police in an exchange of gunfire. And of course, the military says it is investigating it. What exactly, in your own opinion, actually happened there?
Yeah, what happened is a very sad incident. It shouldn't have happened in the first instance. But I think it's a failure or breakdown of proper communication between the political leadership in that state and the security agencies. Let's look back to the previous government before this Governor Zulum came in, the former governor. He had a very cordial relationship with the security agencies, and that helped in the fight against insurgency to the extent that Borno as a whole is celebrating. People have gone back to their communities. But since the current governor came in, there seems to be loss of faith between him and particularly the military. If you recall that at each time he's quick to either condemn the actions of the military or whatever. There have been instances where he got a report that some military personnel were collecting money from some of the citizens. He rushed down there. He in strong terms, he condemned that, and he said a lot of things. There have been instances where he actually said that the state is still being controlled by Boko Haram and so many others. And this, I must tell you, does not work well when in a situation of war. You must, as a political leader, agree. If there are any gray areas or areas you do not understand, there is need for you to have closed-door meeting and collaboration with the military and the security agencies to come to agreement. You cannot set up a particular security agency against the other one. It seems that the governor is more particularly in tune with the police and
that is what it seems like, because clearly the governor actually went there. From what we have seen, it appears the governor had more of the police convoy than the military.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That is a build-up. So it seems that he doesn't have much faith in the military, and maybe that must have led to him saying that if the military is not ready, he would call in the hunters and the vigilantes.
Now, is that actually a smart thing to say and to do?
No. I'm building up to tell you that ab initio, the governor had been playing politics with the security issues. You cannot try to be popular, to the detriment of security activities. I have always said that you cannot bring political solution to security challenges. The governor, in his statement so far, not just this particular one, previous statement, has not been smart, has not been, what I would say, leadership. He has not played the role of a leader in this fight against insurgency, and it shouldn't be. If you also remember that during the previous governor's time, there was a time he was going towards Ngala area, his area, and he was attacked. He came under attack by these bandits, these terrorists. But he didn't come out to start talking about and condemning the military action. He went into a closed-door meeting with the security agencies and had a meeting with them, and they went back and ensured that they flush out those terrorists. But in this particular case, the governor has not been able to play the role of a leader. So
obviously, this governor seems to have a different style altogether. He's quite open, so to speak, and he's not someone who would adopt the passive approach, so to speak. He's just too open about issues. But I just want to ask you the implication of that statement, because when he said, look, if the military wasn't ready, that he was going to mobilize local hunters and vigilantes to go into Baga and all of that. And is that the right thing to say? Because the question is, if he could do that, if he could mobilize hunters and vigilantes to go to Baga and, provide security there, then probably it sends a very wrong message, because the military might just decide to just stay by and watch him and say, okay, get these vigilantes and hunters to do the job, and let's see how well they're able to do it.
From a security perspective, that was a very reckless statement by the chief security officer of a state to make that. It's very reckless, and it shouldn't be. I hope and want to believe that the military will not fold their hands and say, yes, let him use the hunters, because that will actually spell doom for the innocent citizens of that state. I think that like he did in the other previous times when he made such reckless statements, he quickly ran to the head of the military agencies to try to mend fences with them. And here again is another reckless statement. I want to believe is that either the commander-in-chief, who is the president, could caution him, or they'll be able to say, look, this was a wrong statement. But the effect of that statement may not just be wished away. The effect of that statement is very, very weighty. As we speak, most of the soldiers and the officers in the battlefield are demoralized by that statement. I have been on the phone since yesterday night with some of them that I have contact with, and their response is not encouraging. I had to personally ask them that please don't lose hope. He may have made a reckless statement. He is not your commander. He is not your leader. You wait for your commander to speak to you before you feel depressed, because it's not proper. The hunters or the vigilantes or the civilian JTF cannot execute the kind of asymmetric war that is happening over there in Borno State and the environment, the Northeast as a whole. So I believe that there could be intervention by either some high authority, the president, or the military hierarchy. This is ironic because just a few weeks ago, he commended the Air Force, he commended the Army for what they are doing, and here it seems to want to talk at the spur of the moment and emotionally, and just to attract attention to himself. That shouldn't be of a leader. And
the truth is that it wouldn't be good if the governor of the state is having problems with the military in that state, because that will not be good, especially for the people of Borno.
Yes, Deji, the truth of the matter is that if it continues, the likelihood of the state being declared declared emergency is possible, the military taking over fully, because from what he's saying, he's actually showing that he has lost hope with the military. And the military, as we speak today, is in control of the security in that state. And if you say you've lost hope with the agency of government that is in the leader in terms of security in that state, that means it cannot stay. And for the protection of the innocent citizen, you need to be able to take a drastic action. If you look at immediately after his statement, there were some attacks. This is happening after so many years, after about 3 or 4 years, directly into Maiduguri, and it has never happened. So he's giving more boost to the terrorists by his statements and by his action, and they shouldn't be encouraged at all.
And you're absolutely right. I mean, I can't argue with that, because I can understand the governor was frustrated, but then he's a governor of the state, he's the chief executive of that state, and what you say in public, you just have to watch it, especially given what is going on in that state. Let's turn our attention now to Kaduna. Every solution that has been thrown to this problem, it appears, hasn't worked at all. You have a huge deployment of security agencies in that state, yet people, unknown gunmen or bandits, whatever they are called, are still able to carry out attacks. What exactly do you think the problem is? Why have we not been able to end this?
I think the Southern Kaduna crisis is a very pathetic one. I think a lot of injustice, a lot of untruthfulness, and a lot of insincerity is playing out in that situation. Again, it's not a crisis that started 10 years ago or 4 years ago or 5 years ago. It's been over and over, dated since 1970s. The Southern Kaduna crisis have been happening, and it came to a crescendo, or what we could say the highest point during, if you remember, the Zango Kataf crisis that led where Lamani Lekport was even sentenced to death, but later commuted to life imprisonment and all that. So it's been on, and there have been several inquiries that have been set up by government, several white papers have come out, but there are no implementation. This is actually calling for quicker response to issues of our constitution. In Nigeria, we still recognize that there are people who are indigenous and settlers, because this is the crux of the whole issue in Southern Kaduna, where there are some people who have lived there over close to 100 years and above, but they are still regarded as settlers. There are the indigenous people, and it's all boils down to issue of land. But there are, in the several commissions that have been set up, inquiries and white paper released, there are punishments that are supposed to be meted out to some people,
but none carried out.
Yet it's never been implemented, and these are ongoing. It's a big problem. Both sides are guilty of this, because there are attacks and there are reprisal attacks. And different issues, it has taken different dimensions.
Now, of course, the government says, the government really understands what is going on there. I mean, from what you hear government say, the government absolutely understands. I mean, the government came out to say, look, what is going on is just revenge killings and all of that. Now, the issue is, if you really know what is going on, you understand what is going on, why not go after those who are carrying out this revenge killing so that you can stop the attacks from happening? Of course, we know there are issues, age-old or age-long issues, but why is it difficult for security agencies and the government in particular to address this? If you know who these groups are that are carrying out the revenge killings, why not go after them?
All right, let me tell you that is a bit sensitive. The issue, I read some part of the last white paper released, and if it's to be implemented, it may bring up even more crisis in the state, because there were recommendations that were made, and there were some high-profile personalities on both sides that were supposed to be indicted, arrested, prosecuted, and all that. There are the Southern Kaduna Progressive with the Sopaco and a lot of other organizations. On the Fulani side, there are some of them who are also fueling the crisis. It's difficult because the security agencies can't just go and wipe away a whole community. There are individuals, after they've been identified, it's supposed to, the political will for these people to be arrested and prosecuted has to be carried on, both on the side of the native, the indigenes, and the side of the settlers, because they have always carried out this issue of attack. Yes, some people come. The last case that happened is a young boy that was killed, a young Fulani boy that was killed, and the next is that some Fulanis mobilized from wherever they're coming from. The report from the people on ground is that these Fulanis that came to attack were not from Kaduna, they came from other places. And of course, you know that Fulanis are spread all over Africa and across. So they may have been, but somebody may have invited them to come.
Let me, sorry to interject because we just have to end, we're out of time, but very quickly. Why do you think it's not possible for the security agencies to know about these attacks before they happen so that they can stop them from happening?
No, I'm not saying that it's not possible to know about it. If our intelligence groups are working effectively, when I mean intelligence group, the DSS, then the police police intelligence group, if they are working the way they should work, then it will be able to detect it on time. But as we speak, these intelligence groups are not doing what they should do. They should be able to infiltrate this community. They should be able to know where this is are being planned, and quickly notify the operational arm of these security agencies to be able to stop it from happening. But it's for either reasons, either political reasons or based on sentiment reasons, because I have been to the Southern Kaduna issue 2 years ago when it broke out, and I noticed that when I wanted to go to a particular community, I was advised not to go because the person who was piloting me is from another side of it. So he was trying to prevent me from going to the other side, so I will not get information from that side. If I had not insisted, then I would not have gotten to here. But I insisted. I said, look, you can stop here. I will go myself. No, we may not know where some of all these security agencies, where their allegiance or where their sentiment belongs to. And that is why these things will continue. I believe that if governments take this issue seriously, dispassionately, without having sentiment to anybody, then it will finally come to a stop. But if they continue to play politics and be handled with kid gloves, security issues, you can't handle it with kid gloves. It must be handled the way it should be, no matter who is being hurt. And that is the situation. I hope that this will stop.
Patrick. Thank you very much, Patrick, for your contributions. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but thank you very much for your thoughts there, and thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll take a short break and we'll be right back. On Deji 360, we don't just ask the questions. What is wrong with amending the Constitution the way the National Assembly members have been doing it? We seek answers.
Constitution is constituent. Our problem is not lack of laws. Our problem is lack of the willpower to implement our laws.
Answers that provide clarity.
While we negotiate, we should try to make it a point that the girls must be complete.
The clarity you need to make informed judgment so that you can make the right decision and take action. People are saying it is you politicians that are responsible for this, that you are the reason why this is happening.
All these dullards that call themselves governors in this country.
I wish we had people like Tony at the National Assembly.
God forbid that I go to join that band.
Digi 360, providing clarity to issues.